How concerned are you about the optics of a major offensive during Ramadan?
So optics in PR is one thing, but I'll just remind your viewers and listeners that of course it's great to get international support in a very justified war, and of course we would rather have good optics, but it's a war, and this is not the case, and we're not going to stop fighting or fight for support for optics. What we're fighting for is to stay alive. It's as simple as that. We faced and we are still facing an existential genocidal threat. It's called Hamas in the south and Hezbollah in the north. The optics are the optics that Hamas wants the world to see. They think that by showing the world that obviously there's destruction in Gaza, but that's a consequence of their decision to wage war against us. It's a consequence of a historical pattern of poor priorities on the Palestinian side, unfortunately. And these optics, if Israel would take the pressure for it, this is exactly what Hamas wants to see. They want to see Israel succumbing to international pressure so that we will take the fire for their vile actions and stop crushing them on the ground, give them impunity. It's not going to happen.
There are still a huge amount of hostages being held by Hamas. We don't know what condition these hostages are in and how healthy they are. There has been no access to them and no concrete intelligence. What is your take on where we are with a potential deal of some kind that would see the return of hostages?
So we want our stolen people back, full stop. They must come back home. They must be reunited with their family. There's no question about it. And we are pursuing both the military avenue and the diplomatic avenue combined to try to bring to the release of more hostages. We had this framework back in November. You and I talked about it. In which we saw the release of more than 100 hostages, and we hope to reach another agreement of this kind. But so far, Hamas have presented delusional demands, delusional terms in the negotiations. That's a word that Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu used to describe these negotiations. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that they were non-starter demands.
More than 5 months on since Hamas's horrific massacres in southern Israel, a huge amount of hostages remain in their hands. What is the latest on any kind of a deal to see their return?
David, our stolen people must come back home to their families. There's no question here, full stop. And we are working in military ways and also in diplomatic avenues to try to bring to the release of more hostages. We had this framework, as you remember, you reported about this back in November, which saw the release of more than 100 hostages, but we still have 134 hostages held captive there in Gaza for 153 days. For 33 of them, unfortunately, time has run out. They have to come out. We are hearing horrendous accounts from hostages who returned back in November about the hell that they were going through, the hell that our remaining hostages are going through, and especially the young women there. We know for a fact that they are being subject to sexual violence. We know that for a fact. There's even a UN report that came out this week specifying exactly that. So we know that the only thing that works against Hamas is this combination of military pressure and the diplomatic avenue. But in the negotiations so far, I can tell you that Hamas has presented terms that were simply delusional, as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called them. And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, he referred to them as non-starters. And just 2 days ago, President Biden said that Israel has put forward a rational offer. So there you have it. This is where we're standing right now. But we set very clear red lines for any such potential deal that will see the release of hostages. We will not release thousands of Palestinian terrorists in exchange, nor will we agree to withdraw IDF forces from the Gaza Strip entirely, because that would mean, in other words, giving up total victory. We can't allow that.
מחסניות, ציוד קשר.